Welcome to Holme Horror. I've been waiting for you. Silent night. The snow fell in thick, silent sheets over the small town of Pine Hollow, blanketing it in an eerie stillness. Christmas lights twinkled from rooftops and trees, their cheerful glow masking the unease that had settled over the town. People whispered of the disappearances. 5 residents gone without a trace in the last 2 weeks. The only clue left behind was a faint trail of blood in the snow, leading nowhere. For 17-year-old Clara Myers, Christmas was always her favorite time of year. She loved the carols, the warm glow of the fireplace, and the little traditions she shared with her family. But this year felt different. Her parents had been acting strangely, locking the doors earlier than usual and keeping a shotgun propped by the door. "It's just to be safe," her father said when Clara asked. But she noticed the tremor in his voice. On Christmas Eve, Clara walked home from a late shift at the diner. The streets were deserted, the festive decorations offering little comfort in the oppressive quiet. As she passed the edge of the forest, she spotted something unusual. A lone figure standing among the trees. The figure wore a red suit, the kind Santa Claus might wear, but his proportions were wrong. Too tall, too thin. His face was obscured by the shadows of the branches. Clara's breath hitched. "Hello?" she called, forcing her voice to remain steady. The figure didn't respond but tilted its head, as if observing her. Then it stepped back, disappearing into the darkness of the woods. Clara quickened her pace, her boots crunching against the snow. By the time she reached home, her chest was tight with fear. Her father was waiting by the window, the shotgun in his hands. "Where were you?" he demanded. "At work," Clara said, shaken. "I saw someone in the woods." Her father's face paled. "Did they see you?" I think so." Her mother appeared in the doorway, her face a mask of worry. "We'll talk about this later. For now, lock the doors and stay inside." The family settled in for the night, trying to maintain a semblance of normalcy. They ate dinner by the fire, exchanged small gifts, and listened to Christmas music. But the tension was palpable. Around midnight, as the snowstorm intensified, a knock echoed through the house. Everyone froze. "No one's out in this weather," Clara's mother whispered. Her father gripped the shotgun and approached the door. "Who is it?" he called. There was no answer. Just another knock, slow and deliberate. Clara's father pulled back the curtain slightly. On the porch stood a man in a Santa suit, his face obscured by a hood and a thick beard. "What do you want?" her father demanded, his voice steady despite the fear in his eyes. The man didn't respond. Instead, he reached into his sack and pulled out something large and wrapped in blood-stained cloth. He placed it on the doorstep and walked away into the storm, vanishing as quickly as he'd appeared. Her father hesitated before opening the door, shotgun at the ready. He picked up the bundle and brought it inside. When he unwrapped it, Clara screamed. Inside was a severed hand, clutching a small Christmas ornament shaped like a star. Clara's father immediately called the police, but the storm had knocked out the phone lines. The family was cut off, left to face the nightmare alone. "We can't stay here," Clara insisted. "We have to leave." "We can't go out in this storm," her mother said. "We're safer inside." Her father placed the bloody ornament on the table, his face grim. "This isn't random. This is a warning." "What do you mean?" Clara asked. Her father hesitated, his gaze flicking to her mother. "It's happening again." "What's happening again?" Clara demanded. Before they could answer, a loud crash came from upstairs. Her father grabbed the shotgun and motioned for Clara and her mother to stay behind him. Together they crept up the stairs. In Clara's bedroom, the window had been smashed open. Snow blew in, coating the floor. On her bed was another bloodied ornament, this one shaped like a reindeer. Beside it lay a note scrawled in jagged handwriting, "One by one." "Who is doing this?" Clara asked, her voice trembling. Her father didn't answer. Instead, he looked out the broken window into the storm, his face a mixture of fear and guilt. Her mother finally spoke. "It's him. He's back." "Who?" Clara pressed. Her mother's voice dropped to a whisper. "The collector." Years ago, before Clara was born, a man had terrorized Pine Hollow during the Christmas season. He kidnapped families, leaving behind bloody ornaments as his signature. When the bodies were eventually found, they had been mutilated and displayed like grotesque Christmas decorations. The collector had never been caught, and over time, the town had tried to forget. But that was 20 years ago, Clara said. Why now? Her father's jaw tightened. Because we stopped him. Clara's heart sank. What do you mean? Her father finally turned to her. We killed him. Or at least, we thought we did. He explained how a group of townspeople, including himself, had tracked the collector to his cabin in the woods. They had confronted him, and in the chaos, he had been shot and left for dead. They had buried his body in the forest, swearing to keep it a secret. We thought it was over, her father said. But if he's back... The storm raged on as the family barricaded themselves in the living room. They could hear noises outside, footsteps crunching in the snow, the faint sound of bells jingling. Suddenly, the power went out, plunging the house into darkness. Clara clutched a flashlight as her father stood guard by the door. He's toying with us, he said grimly, trying to scare us. A loud bang came from the kitchen. Her father rushed to investigate, shotgun raised. Clara and her mother stayed behind, their breaths shallow. Minutes passed. Dad? Clara called. There was no response. Clara's mother grabbed a fireplace poker and motioned for her to stay close. Together, they crept toward the kitchen. The room was empty, but the back door was wide open, snow blowing in. Her father was gone. On the kitchen table was another ornament, shaped like an angel. Panic set in as Clara and her mother tried to secure the house. The collector was no longer just a legend. He was here, and he was unstoppable. One by one, the barricades fell. Each time they found another ornament, another gruesome message. Silent night. Holy night. Eventually, Clara and her mother retreated to the basement. Their last refuge. Whatever happens, stay hidden, her mother said, her voice trembling. What about you? Clara asked. Her mother didn't answer. The basement door burst open, and the collector stepped inside. Up close, his suit was filthy, his beard matted with blood. His eyes gleamed with a sickening joy. Clara screamed as he grabbed her mother, dragging her upstairs. The last thing she saw was her mother's terrified face before the door slammed shut. Clara sat in the dark basement, her heart pounding. Hours passed, or maybe it was only minutes. Time had lost all meaning. Then, the door creaked open again. The collector descended the stairs, dragging a large sack behind him. He dumped it onto the floor, and Clara's stomach churned as she realized what it was. Her mother's dismembered body, wrapped in blood-stained fabric. The collector knelt beside her, placing a final ornament in her trembling hands. It was shaped like a Christmas tree, her name carved into it. "You're the star," he whispered, his voice a low growl. Before she could scream, he raised a knife, and everything went black. Days later, the snowstorm cleared, and search parties began scouring the town for the missing family. They found the house abandoned, the living room decorated with grotesque precision. Human remains were arranged like holiday decorations, each piece adorned with bloody ornaments. Clara's body was never found, but atop the Christmas tree stood the final ornament, a bloodied star bearing her name. The collector had vanished once again, leaving Pine Hollow to wonder when he might return. Thanks for watching, and don't forget to subscribe for more chilling stories. And remember, be careful. I'll be watching you.